All right, so we're going to introduce our first guest here. Our first guest is Maggie Rose. Please make your way up to the podium here. She's a freelance writer, investigative journalist doing international radio for over 25 years. She's been broadcasting with Revolution Radio at Freedom Slips, TalkStream Live. In 1999, she helped launch the 20-something Alex Jones on Republic Radio International out of Battle Creek, Michigan. That's quite a feather in your cap there. Let's see, Maggie bought in as a co-host. Maggie was born 17th September, Constitution Day. How many of you knew that? Yeah, my son has that birthday as well. Maggie's a supporter of the original Constitutionalist. Maggie's a Vietnam-era veteran, Desert Shield, Storm, Gulf War, and 9/11 veteran. She served 34 plus years, part and full-time, while raising 5 kids in college. She states, "When I hung up my uniform, my oath will never expire." Maggie, go ahead and... Oh, there you are, right there. All right, thank you very much. Put your hands together for Maggie.
Hello, folks. Did you know that I'm a deplorable? Did you know that back in the 90s, Janet Reno called myself and some of my soldiers that we were domestic terrorists? Because we were Christian and I had just started homeschooling at that period of time. Because I was spiritual, because I was Second Amendment. I was raised in a family with no Second Amendment knowledge at all. And when I first went in the military, it was like, okay, we have to qualify once a year, and I'm not gonna allow any guns in the house around my 5 children. I have 4 boys and a girl. Well, years later, my beloved husband, he proposed marriage to 3 of my younger kids, and then to me on Christmas morning. And he and my father-in-law, who was an Air Force, Army, Air Corps, World War II vet, they educated me. Okay? It's okay to have it on your kitchen table. You teach your kids what not to touch and come get you if they see something, okay? So, that's kind of my start. I am the great-great-granddaughter of Herschel D. Hinton, who was born in England in 1000, and he went to Normandy, got married, had 2 sons. When those 2 sons were in their 40s, in 1066, they went to the Battle of Hastings with William the Conqueror. They won the Battle of Hastings. Their great-grandson later on served for King James and was a major stockholder as a civilian in the London Company. He co-founded Jamestown Colony with my other great-grandfather, Matthew Howard. So I go way back. Another great-grandfather came over in the Fallon with his 2 brothers in the 1600s, and he settled on Goose Creek, which is now named after him, Toms River, New Jersey. I had a great-grandfather, Vachel Hinton, served in the Virginia militia, was at Redstone, was a private in the Virginia militia. So I guess I could be technically Daughters of the American Revolution. My application is all ready to go. They had co-founded Jamestown Colony. Yes, I was born September 17th. I had no idea when I was younger that what that date signifies as our national holiday for the U.S. Constitution. I volunteered for Vietnam in 1974. 19 years old, well, I was turning 19, on my way to Vietnam. They decided as a combat medic they needed me in Korea. I was in Korea when Vietnam fell. I saw what it was like to live under tyranny because at that time there was martial law in South Korea under President Park Chung-hee. The things I experienced as a 19-year-old. You could not wear pants. Can you imagine telling some teenage girl or 20-something that she can't wear pants, blue jeans, unless it's a matching pantsuit? You had to wear skirts or dresses. I was walking down the street with a good friend of mine whose father was a TV personality. My uncle's Hugh O'Brien, who played Wyatt Earp on TV. You all know Hugh O'Brien? Okay, that's my biological father's brother. I grew up in Hollywood. My mother was Natalie Wood's stand-in for Rebel Without a Cause. So I grew up in Hollywood. My uncle Hugh O'Brien was a Marine. He was the youngest drill instructor to this day in the Marine Corps history as a DI. He passed away 3 years ago. One thing my uncle taught me, when you get knocked off a horse, you brush yourself off and you get right back on again and you never quit, you take a stand. Years later, Lavoy Finnegan, I was with him at the Mauer. He reminded me of that. Reminded me of our oath, okay? This is something my second father would pass this out everywhere he went. My second father was in the Korean War, just like my biological father. One was Army, one was Marine Corps. Attitude, by Charles Swindoll. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, than money. than circumstances, than failures, than successes, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than a parent's giftedness or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable things is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. Daddy married my mom in the 1960s with 5 of us kids, medical issues with my mom's cystic fibrosis with my sister. He adopted all 5 of us. He got married on Independence Day to my mother, July the 4th. Gave up his Porsche to buy a station wagon. I was at my daddy's bedside last Sunday at the VA hospital in Roseburg, Oregon when he took his last breath. Korean War vet. Is my hero. He taught me blood is not what's important, it's what's in the heart. You're all my family. We are all each other's family. Extended family, right? And Dad would not be here today. One of the things I'm going to start doing is, to conclude today, I'm going to start having some incoming, so be ready. My dad was all about Tootsie Rolls. Incoming, as they say in the Army. So this in memory of Larry Carl Johnson. Years later, I was involved with some of my soldiers up in Waco. Okay? They went down there not knowing what they were going to be asked to do. This was one of the books I was given, Unintended Consequences. How many of you read this book, this novel? If you haven't read this novel, you need to read this novel, Unintended Consequences. It tells you in this sort of futuristic, much of it's come true, what is happening to our country. Unintended consequences. In my 30s and 40s, I began to realize what was happening in this country. One of the things that I did not like was the fact that so many things are being made overseas. And this really upset me a lot, because I want our jobs to stay here. How many of our things are being made in Pakistan and China, and all of our jobs are being sent overseas? That's why I didn't necessarily like Trump all that much. But I like what he stood for. He was a businessman. He wasn't a lawyer. He wasn't a career politician. I didn't like his mouth at times. Sometimes he inserted a split in his mouth. But I like that he got things done. We do not need to have things being made in China, including our American flag. Even our hand sanitizer is being made in China. Our American t-shirts are being made in China. Easter, my kid's favorite time, is being made in China. In China. In Pakistan. Who's into baseball? Who's into baseball? Get over here, man. Now that really upsets me. My son's 42 and he's into baseball. How many of you have your kids with these? Whoops! Our cold packs, I'm a licensed nurse. Those are being made overseas in China. I played with these as a little girl. They've gotten smaller, more expensive. Made overseas. Thermometers. With this virus going around, I went to get this for 2 of my 8 grandchildren. I have 5 granddaughters, 3 grandsons. Made in China. I went one day to grocery outlet at the dollar store and I was screaming in the hallway because it said it was made in America. Made in America, can you believe that? My brother lives in Hawaii, he sent this to you all. Made in America in Hawaii. We were fighting over sanitized wipes, right? Made in America. How many of you use this? You all. Made in America. Made in America. Where is she? Sherry. Redoubt News. I am so
Behind
sorry.
you.
I look everywhere. This is for Sherry, Redoubt News. I'm sorry.
I couldn't either.
So one of the things that's really upsetting me real quick is our ballots. In California and Oregon, I have family and we have property. I entered the military from California, I exited from Oregon. I am the Assemblywoman of Contra Costa County, California. I am the vice chair. I go up and down the freeway between California. We're talking about turning California into the new California state, the 51st state. I am part of that movement. Governor Huckabee came in February and he told us, you can't take back this state. If they won't listen to you, you do it the insurrection through President Trump. Okay? Some man told me years ago when I did radio, Maggie Rose, we love you, that go into the kitchen militia and let us men fight the trenches. Yeah. People are not voting because they said their vote doesn't count. They say their vote doesn't count. So the primaries, many of them don't turn out to vote, but this year they did. And in Oregon and California, the last day to register is the 28th of April, at least in Oregon. The day before, under this new voter motor law, the people at the DMV were changing our Republican registration to non-affiliated. Okay? So therefore we couldn't vote in the primaries. This has happened to one of my sons twice and another 32-year-old son this year. That way we can't vote in the primaries and decide who goes to the general election. We need to stop the mail-in ballots and we need to stop allowing our DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, to have anything to do at all with our registration. If you go in and you change your last name because you just got married, and there's a little box at the bottom and it says, what is your party affiliation? None ya. It's none of your business. But if you don't mark it, they put non-affiliated because then they send that back to your county and you don't get to vote in the primary. So we need to change that. So again, from my heart to yours, thank you so much. I love you all. I am now I've been for some months now part of the Northern Idaho militia, and I'm part of 3% as well. And to all my brothers and sisters out there, veterans, I thank you so much. There's a bond between us that many people here don't understand because there's no words for it. But I love you all and thank you for your service.